How about some of these guys that are like low hanging fruit to get mocked? I mean, you've had fun with let's just pick one, Patrick Reed. I mean, does he know that you are the guy behind it, and what's the relationship like?
So that's a funny one to call it because Patrick Reed was obviously like public enemy number one for a lot of people, and like him
Right.
and Smiley Kaufman, I would
Yep.
say were the two people who I'd make most jokes about.
Hmm.
Um, I became kind of buddies with Kessler, his brother-in-law, and his caddy over the last year and a half or so. He was just like super nice guy, like would laugh at some of the jokes. We had some back and forth too. Like, we're listen, if like Smiley had a week where he made the cut, I was quick to make fun of myself and make a
Right.
joke where Smiley was kind of coming back at me. And I want to be fair. There's sometimes I've certainly crossed the line with both of those guys. But I got to meet Patrick last fall in Las Vegas. We were at the CJ Cup, and he came up. Oh, Kessler came up to me, and then Patrick followed. And he's like, "Oh, so you're the guy with all the big funny jokes?" And I'm like, I'm
Right.
like, and I said, "Listen, I go, I apologize. I've definitely crossed the line with you, but you've done some stuff as well. It's I've got to make some jokes around it, I will continue to as well. But I'm like, nothing personal. I want to take back anything that I did there. Sorry about that." And we just had a good conversation, and he like killed me with kindness. He was like one of the nicest guys I'd really met on tour, and
Mhm.
it kind of threw me back for something. I was like, "Is this just a show? Like, why is this guy being so nice to me?" And then fast forward about a month later, maybe 2 months later, I see him again in Saudi because I went out with an agency out there to go cover the Saudi International, and got to spend some time with him and Kessler again and a bunch of other guys. But I ended up walking 9 holes with Reed, and we just were talking, and I was just like, "This is weird." Like, it's like one of the nicest guys, and it made me feel really bad, like how much I've made fun of him and what I've done, and just like, oh man. So I'm like, I'm trying to hold tough. I'm trying to hold tough. I'm like, listen, I'm still gonna make fun of him and other people if they do something stupid, but I'm not gonna go deliberately out of my way to
Right.
post something about Patrick Reed. But I think the straw that broke the camel's back is we were doing some interviews around the Masters at in Austin during the match play, and I rented a hotel. I had a room in a hotel where we had people kind of funnel in and out, and we had all the big stars come. Like, we had John Rahm, Tony Finau, we had like Leishman, we had Hoagie came. We had a bunch of all these guys that were playing in that week's event. And we were talking to them about playing in the Masters. We had two videos. We had one of Masters champions, and then another of guys trying to win their first Masters. So we even had like Ben Crenshaw come through and some of the guys. So it was really cool. But Patrick Reed was one of them I reached out to because I wanted to have another Masters champion that was playing in the field. And I felt with our interactions that we had recently that, he may come and say yes. And he did. And so I was like, all right, so we're going to do some content with Patrick Reed. And here we go. And so he calls me like 10 minutes before he's supposed to be here. And I'm like, oh, he's probably canceling, or something.
Right.
And he's like, "Hey, Trav," he's like, I'm going through Starbucks right now. What's your order? What do you want?" And I'm
Get out
like,
of here.
I'm like, "What?"
That's
And
good.
so he takes my order and brings me my coffee. And I'm like, "Dude, okay." I'm like, I just like, that was the moment where I'm like, "Dude, I'm such an asshole." I was like, all the stuff I've done with this guy.
I love though for a moment you thought like this was his long game to finally get you back that he was going to cancel like 10 minutes before. That's funny.
Yeah.
But so
Well, because
might we see it come full circle? Might we see him on home course?
I don't know. We'll see. We talked about it in Portland, even just about doing some content together. But I think home course would be cool. We're going to launch a new series too. That's like, it's going to be fun, but less invasive than home course because, understandably, not a lot of people want to show off their homes or their private life. But we've been getting some dead ends with some people, but they want to do content. So it was
Mhm.
kind of like, all right, how can we think quick on our feet to create maybe a new series that's less invasive, but can be still great for the audience to watch. And so I feel like if we're not going to do a home course with him, we can do something like that. So
That's cool.
stay
Yeah.
tuned for sure.